I'm praying for more clients. I'm praying for the best workers. I'm praying for all this other stuff, but they're not praying for the person that they need to become to be able to handle all these businesses, to be able to steward the people in the business. You understand what I'm saying? So you're praying for the wrong thing.
This is one thing that I've learned throughout the years when hiring a virtual assistant. You need to monitor them. I got some virtual assistants where I don't have to look at their screen and everything that they're doing 24/7 because they're just basically, I just pay them to do the job, they do the job, and that's that. But if you have a virtual assistant that is working for you, working 9 to 5, you need to know where your time is going at. What are you paying for here? So there was a lot of money that was wasted when I would hire virtual assistants on, and they'll be still in time. So to avoid all of that, we started using a platform called
Candid Cleaning Conversations. No fluff in the conversation. Real numbers, real elevation. We don't sell dreams, we build foundation. Candid Cleaning Conversations. Pressure make professional. We clean the business, not just the floor.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Candid Cleaning Conversations. In case you don't know, my name is Mrs. Johnson. I'm the owner of Tenacity Academy, where we help cleaning business owners start, grow, and scale profitable cleaning businesses, even if they are stuck working a 9 to 5.
Yes, you guys. And my name is Tamika. I am Mrs. Johnson Assistant. We help entrepreneurs become the leader that their business requires through leadership, systems, automations, faith, and most of all, implementation.
You got this, girl. You got this, girl. She switches it up every now and then on us, all right?
Girl.
So what are we talking about today? We are talking all about the mistakes that we made in our cleaning company.
Yeah, right? I really wanted to go over this because it's not your typical talking about the mistakes. It's more so like through those mistakes, how did it build the business that we have today? So let's take a deep dive, right?
Yeah, so for those of y'all that don't know, I started my cleaning company back in 2018. The first cleaning company I had, it was called Georgia's Heavenly Cleaners, right? And I grew it really, really fast. It quickly came to an end because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, all right? I ended up closing the business down. I filed bankruptcy, and I went back and got a job. I said, this is it. Business, I'm not supposed to be a business owner. I'm not cut out for this. And then something told me that getting a job, that sucked as well. So either way, it's kind of like pick your poison, right? So I decided to start again, grew that company to over $2 million in revenue. And now we're Tenacity Academy, where we're helping cleaning business owners do the same thing I did from the ground up, okay? But along the way, we made a lot of mistakes. Me and Tamika, we made a lot of mistakes, and we're gonna go over that in this podcast so that hopefully we can help y'all not make the mistakes that we made. So when I first started, there wasn't a lot of coaches out here. There wasn't a whole bunch of people that you could find, a whole bunch of courses and all that stuff. It was really just one main person that I would follow, and that was AJ. Everybody knows, shout out to Clean Biz Network. But I didn't have a whole lot of guidance, you know, when I first started. So I was just out here winging it, right? So one of the first things that I would say to anybody that's just starting out that I didn't know in the beginning is to make sure that you're paying your taxes quarterly and not every year. So I was told girl, you could just go ahead and pay your taxes every year. You okay? At the end of the year, just pay them off then. So I followed that advice, and that advice got me into a lot of trouble farther on down the line. Okay, so it didn't catch me on the first year or the second year, but that third year, it was just all hell broke loose, right? So pay your taxes quarterly. Another thing that I would say is make sure that you have those separate business bank accounts. So make sure you have a personal account, make sure you have a business account, make sure you have a tax account, make sure you have a account that you pay your workers out of, you know. So make sure you're separating all of your business accounts up, and all of that money is not coming to one account. I made the big mistake of all of my money going into my business account. I didn't realize that it needed to split up. Okay, so that's why I was overspending so much, because you can't see the money. So it's just, I'm just spending it all, you know. So that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. I would say pay your taxes quarterly, every quarter.
Absolutely. So let me challenge y'all real quick. So what if I was to tell you guys, because all this information is just, it's going in every different direction, right? But what if I was to tell you guys that the number one, the biggest thing that a lot of entrepreneurs go through when making mistakes is they think that it's them. Well, they think that it's a business. They think that it's the competition. They also think that it's maybe the marketing. Maybe it's my pricing. Well, I'm here to tell you that it may just be you, because of all the stuff that you're going through. It's just so much that you guys can actually accomplish if you just take time out and just start from the basics, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go over one of the mistakes that I've seen just with the entrepreneurs that Miss Johnson has coached before. And with that, I would say it would be the information, because they think, oh, well, now I get to take all this information with my notebook, and I'm going to watch another podcast. I'm going to do all these things. And guess what? Those paper in that notebook become yellow, and that podcast, you can't even remember what they said 2 weeks ago. So now it's a whole different ball game. So it's not just the information, it's the implementation that you have to do to make sure that your business moves forward, right? And the next thing that I would say is just, people, they're praying for this opportunity, right? They're praying for this next opportunity. Like, I'm praying for more clients. I'm praying for the best workers. I'm praying for all this other stuff. But they're not praying for the person that they need to become to be able to handle all these businesses, to be able to steward the people in the business. You understand what I'm saying? So you're praying for the wrong thing. So message, okay? You definitely need to understand that, because we can make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. So another thing that I would say is building systems before you scale. All right. So make sure that you are building systems before you scale, not before you start, though. It's a big difference between building a system before you scale and before you start, and I'll explain. Because some people feel like things have to be perfect before they start, and that's not true, right? Because in one of our old videos, I showed a clip of Michael Jackson, and he had a video called, I think it wasn't I'm Bad. It was something else. It Beat It, right?
Beat It.
And one of the dancers was messing up in the video. I don't know if y'all seen this clip or not. But I was today's years old when I noticed the dancer was messing up, right? Girl, do you know Michael Jackson still put the video out?
He did.
You understand? And we all know to this day what that video did for that man's life, right? So why do we feel like things got to be perfect before we get started? Things don't have to be how many times I changed this logo? I changed Tenacity Academy logo a couple times. I'm not gonna change it no more. We done. This is the logo right here. But things do not have to be perfect before you start. Some people feel like all of the systems got to be together. That's a dangerous thought, I feel, because a lot of times you don't know how the system looks in business until you get in motion.
Yeah.
How do you even know what you're building out? You need to get in motion first, okay? And then you will know. You can use things like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is great. It will write out the whole SOP for you. And as a new beginner, you're not even going to understand half of the shit that it write out for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just being honest. You're not going to understand until you actually get in motion in your business. That's right. I say don't wait until it's perfect. Get started. You're going to mess up, tweak the system until it gets better. You know, your hiring process, all of the things. Hire some people. You got to mess up. You got to do it over and over again. Build those SOPs out as you're going along. Yeah. Right. And then when it comes to scaling, though, you got to have your SOPs together, because it's the scaling part that's like the engine, right? When we say scale, we mean that's when we start buying ads, putting money into ads. The ads is like the gasoline, right? But you can't put gasoline on a broken system, or else it's all gonna crumble and fall, right? So all of that has to be built. The structure has to be together, SOPs, everything tight, which means you already tested these SOPs, you know they work, you've done it 100 times. Now it's ready to pour the ads on it, and it's time to start scaling that thing the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
So that's one advice that I would say is build the systems before you start to scale. And when you do that, you definitely will need a CRM. I highly recommend you guys use our CRM if you don't have one. Okay. Next is number 3. This is a big one. Trust. Virtual assistants. Trust in virtual assistants. You want to take that one?
No, go ahead.
All right. So one thing about virtual assistants, right? This is one thing that I've learned throughout the years when hiring a virtual assistant. You need to monitor them. I'll say it again. You need to monitor your virtual assistants. I got some virtual assistants where I don't have to look at their screen and everything that they're doing 24/7, because they're just basically, I just pay them to do the job. They do the job, and that's that. But if you have a virtual assistant that is working for you, working 9 to 5, you need to know where your time is going at. What are you paying for here? Okay. So there was a lot of money that was wasted when I would hire virtual assistants on, and they'll be still in time. You got to think about it. These people, the virtual assistants that we hire, they live in the Philippines. Right. We pay them about $5 an hour. Right. A lot of these people, I'll pay them either $400 or $500 a month to do a job for me. And a lot of times when I'll check on them jokers sleep. They not even doing the job. They're like, I'm like, hello, like you're supposed to be working right now. What are you doing? So to avoid all of that, we started using a platform called, what is it called? Hubstaff. So Hubstaff and Clockify. Those are 2 platforms that we use to help monitor the virtual assistant's screen. time. So we can see their screen time, we can see what they're doing, we can check in on them, and it helps them understand too, like that we're watching. If they know nobody's watching over them and hovering over them, then they can just do whatever they want to do and tell you that they did it. They say, yeah, I made 15 calls today. Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did that. How would you know if you don't have something like that to fact check it? So that's one thing that we had to implement a few years ago. We implemented Hub Staff, and it works out tremendously for our business. So definitely make sure that you're monitoring your virtual assistants.
All right. So another one that I've noticed, just a lot of people, they say, well, they blame their business, right? They're blaming their business for everything. Well, it's the business fault because I don't have the right revenue. It's my business fault because I don't have the right workers. It's my business fault because I'm not keeping myself organized. So instead of blaming the business, they should be actually blaming their habits because they have not created the correct habits in their business. Like how you are in your personal life is how you're going to be in your business. And you cannot do that. You understand what I'm saying? People are praying for the business to magically happen and all these things happen, but they need to pray for themselves to be able to handle the business. It's the habits are inside of the business that they are trying to create. They have to exactly do those habits though. So it's like you want to be able to take care of those habits that you need to do. And then another one that they're actually going through is they're wanting that CEO money, right? But they're practicing employee thinking. So they don't understand that with the habits of creating, you can get an application called Notion where you're able to systemize your systems and say, well, this is what I'm going to work on when it comes to SOPs. This is how I'm going to deal with my scripts. You get a CRM that helps out with the automations. It's a lot of things that you guys can get because we also have an automation, a CRM as well to help you out with the delegation of that. Now, just dealing with money, CEO money, but you still got employee habits. You know what I mean? You're thinking that everything's supposed to just come to you. You building stuff without no systems. You're building stuff and you just don't have growth. It's like you're just winging everything. So you practically don't have a career. You have a job at this point. So you don't have a business. You have a job. That is why the business won't be able to operate without you. So you have to take in consideration of the things that you guys are doing so that way you can create those habits that you need. And when you do that, voila, we'll have a business.
Awesome. That was a good point. Good point. Next, I got doom strolling.
Oh, I am so guilty of that.
So I think everybody might be guilty of this, but I don't think that we realize how detrimental doom strolling can be. And what that means is when you basically wake up in the morning, you grab your phone and you just start going. You ain't saying thank you to God. You ain't saying nothing. You just going on the phone, on Instagram, TikTok, whatever your favorite app is. You just start doom strolling. And I want y'all to understand how detrimental it really is. Like the people that own these apps, they are so good, okay? Because they have this dopamine effect. They know everything that you like. That's how like toxic it is. It's literally showing you everything that you like.
Right.
So that's what's really keeping you strolling on there. But in my notes here it says, if you doom stroll 2 hours a day, that is 730 hours per year. That's over 30 full days every year of doom strolling. So you're literally, I don't think y'all understand
how much time are you putting into scrolling.
For all those out there saying they don't have time to do this and I don't have time to do that, if you are spending 2 hours a day doom strolling, and I've been a victim of it. I think we all have been a victim of it. We all have been a victim. Just cut it out. It's not just me, right? We all have been a victim of just strolling on that phone, and it just takes your day away. It may be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of you just doing that, right? When you could be doing things for your business. 3 hours a day, that's 1,095 hours per year. Now, what could we do with that time?
You could be working on your business. You could be working on your business so you don't have to be in your business. Okay?
That's time that you could spend going door to door. That's your time that you could spend email marketing. That's your time that you could spend cold calling. You know, all the stuff that you hate to do in your business, that's the time that you could spend doing it. So if I could give y'all any advice, I would say stop doom strolling. One thing that works best for me is just taking all the apps off your phone. You know, really truly getting locked in on your work. So sometimes we have to do that social media detox that we do, right? I usually do this periodically if I feel like, you know, I'm all over the place and I'm not really locked in. I'm turning off all the apps on my phone. I'm taking it all up. TikTok, Instagram, I'm turning off all notifications and I'm really just locking in on whatever it is I'm trying to get done. That's how I have to get stuff done nowadays. We are in a spiritual warfare. And it's like every time you go outside the house, you got billboards in your face, you got notifications going off, and your attention is just being pulled in all these different directions. Why is that? You know, so now we gotta figure out ways to control all of this, and that's how we do it. That's how I do it. You know, I have my phone on airplane mode so nobody can call me. You know, you gotta take your time back, y'all. And I'm really serious about my time because time is more valuable than money. It will always be more valuable than money. We can't get our yesterday back. I can't get the last five hours from today back. It ain't ever coming back. Time is very valuable. So yeah, I'm really, really precious about my time. You know how I feel about that. So next, what we got?
All right, so stop chasing every opportunity. So this is funny because you might see like the shiny object syndrome. You're like looking and seeing what everybody is doing, and you're like, man, I want to try that. Well, maybe that's what's working. Maybe it worked for them. It'll work for me too. See, you're only supposed to actually use everybody as a reference, not as a copy and paste, because you might be able to copy what someone else is doing, but you might can't paste it the same way that they're doing their actual tasks as well. So here, one example would be numbers. Like you might be, well, they charge this amount, so let me charge this. Well, you don't understand the reason why they actually are charging that amount. They have overhead, they have taxes that they have to pay. They have already allotted their numbers to be able to charge that amount. So that's why they have that amount. So you're only supposed to use it as a reference, guys. That is it. You're not supposed to be doing anything extra outside of that. It's just like, I don't know why we feel like we have to copy other people and feel like, well, whatever worked for them is going to work for us, because 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work.
It almost never works.
Like
right?
You can try as many times that you want. I don't care in whatever language that you want. It's not going to work because it's not you. You have to be your own individual person, and you have to create what works for you.
Exactly. See, we don't have the same lifestyles either. So you might be copying somebody's system or whatever they got going on, and they might have a raggedy lifestyle. What I mean by that is they may be working from sun up to dang on sundown. You don't know what they're having to do to get all of that done to be able to show up the way they're showing up.
That is correct.
They may be exhausted and miserable over here.
And
you're trying to copy off what they're doing.
And then too, another thing that a lot of people do, because you don't want to copy and paste, is they may make it look like there's something that they're not. And you don't want to go into that. Or it might be like, hey, I want this person's lifestyle. I want exactly what they got going on, but you ain't gonna do the work. And see, a lot of people, even when it comes to the FTC, so you have to be careful with the things that you're saying, because if you're telling people this is what you're going to do, they need to get that result. Because if you're saying things that are not going to happen, yes, I'm going to clean your house guaranteed. All right, I'm going to clean your house guaranteed. Then someone could come back and say, oh no, that's not the case. And they can take you to court for that. So there's a lot of things that you guys need to tighten up on, okay? Because you don't want everybody's life. It might look like it's laid out paradise and everything, but you don't want any problems. You do not want any problems.
Right. So next, hiring slow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
that's good.
this topic right here is a little, because I actually believe in hiring fast and she believe in hiring slow and taking your time and going through the whole motion with people and stuff. So when I first met Tamika read resumes. She's going to call your jobs and see what job, verify the jobs that the workers used to work on. She's literally going to go through the protocols of everything of that candidate, which is very good. Me, on the other hand, I don't operate like that. We're totally different. So I don't read resumes because people lie. Okay, we got ChatGPT nowadays. ChatGPT is writing up the beautiful resumes for people and stuff. So I don't read resumes no more. I judge from people's characteristic. I hire for character. When they come in, I really judge you from when I see you, when you go out there in the field, whether you show up, whether you do the job the way you're supposed to do. That's what I judge in a person, right? We hire independent contractors, so we make sure that they have general liability, workers' comp before we bring them in. If they don't have general liability and workers' comp, a lot of times we will make them get general liability and make them wait at least. Give them like a 30-day grace period to get the workers' comp before we put them in the field. But that's how I operate. I judge by character.
Yeah, definitely. Judging by character is a very good characteristic. When I first came in here, guys, I don't have no cleaning experience as far as when it comes to entrepreneurship. So I didn't know. So just over the years, I've grown to understand the proper way and just different techniques that you can actually go about when it comes to hiring contracts, because that process can be very, very tricky. That's one thing I want to tell you guys, because people will present themselves as their representative, and then when they get out in the field, they're totally different things. So just think about it. If you guys are in a relationship, it's like you go through this puppy love stage where in the beginning you're like, oh my God, he texts me, oh my gosh. And then you go through, oh my gosh, I want to fall asleep on the phone with you. Then you go from, I don't even know where I'm answering my call. Like, so it's just different phases that you guys are going to go through when it comes to the relationship of the entrepreneur, just customers and all of that. But one thing I can tell you is that if you're going to say, I'm going to check the resumes, what I've had to learn how to do was not only check the resumes, but I had to create a Google form, and we would send this out to the actual representatives that they would say, hey, these are my references, and we're asking them questions. We want to know what is going on, and I want to know this person, because half time they are actually sending their best friend, their sister, they're sending like different people, to just fill out the stuff for them. So we got to get creative. And then when it comes to asking questions on the actual interview, we're asking behavioral questions. Tell me about your last job. what did you like about it and what you didn't like. We want to make them talk, because the average person going in, they are just a bobblehead.
Everybody's gonna have their best self.
Yeah.
Like, you're never gonna know these people until they get out in the field. Everybody's gonna present their best self to you when they get in front of you.
Absolutely.
But you never know the real person until like 2-3 months down the line. That's when they take that mask off. So I always judge a person from when I put them out there in the field. Are they showing up? Are they cleaning correctly? That's what I go by. Okay, and you never know until you put them out there on the field. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, so we're running out of time here, but I am gonna give them one more. Let's give them one more. Let's give them one good one. What would you say out of all these?
I'm gonna say protect. I'm the one that I would say is protecting your energy, because you have to watch the people that are around you 24/7, because they can either hurt you or they can help you. I would tell you that. And you have people that are leeches. Just standing by Miss Johnson's side and just helping her out with her students, and just starting out with the cleaning business and the academy. OMG, you have people who envy you. You have people who are spiteful. It's so much, and it's the energy. And you will look around and then you don't have no work done because you're worried about what everybody else is gonna think of you. You're worried about what people are gonna say. It's like, instead of that, protect your energy, bro. Like, there's nothing that you have to do that can please people. These people are not taking care of you. They are not. At the end of the day, you're the person that's getting up doing this grinding. You're the person that's calling these contacts back. You're the person that's making sure that they're in the pipeline. You're making sure everything is being done. So protect your energy, because with your positive energy, it's like, you got to think about it. They have this saying where you have a clean space. If your cleanliness is next to godliness. Why do you think they say that? Because when you're clean and your space is clean, you can breathe. You can actually feel like the energy of like just soothness, and you can work. Versus if you got trash everywhere, now everything is so cluttered, you can't think straight. But anywho, you get the point, guys. We can talk all day about this conversation.
Protect your energy, y'all. Protect your energy.
Yes.
That's our time. What was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from everything that we talked about? I could go on and on and on with all the mistakes and stuff that we made. We might have to do a part 2 because I did not get all the way through my list.
I know, I just closed that laptop.
However, what was your biggest takeaway? Make sure you drop it in the comments down below, because we want to know. And share with us, what was some of your mistakes that you made in your cleaning business? We want to know. Drop it down below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
Bye.